Hello everyone, this is Palash, and I'm going to record the LR section analysis of two passages that I felt would have been difficult. Also, I think I've never recorded decision-making criteria of a passage, so I think I've taken this uh, All India mock, the passage 3, that I will try to discuss and give you a model that we will try to work on. Uh, so stay tuned till the end. I think the comparatively the mock was very easy. I think all of you must have definitely got 80s to 90s and a 90 plus, 99 as well, or 100 touching score. If you are really prepared for this was one of the easier mocks, relatively easier mocks than the previous ones. So without much ado, let's get started. And the agenda of these discussions is to basically start mimicking us, try to copy us, try to mirror what we try to do, and apply that particular approach to gain that perspective. So this section was a 24 on 24 for me. Uh, not exaggerating, but it was relatively very easy. So uh, I'm going to discuss how you could have also got a full score in this, or perhaps a range of marks, as I said. So towards the last, I will discuss the ranges of marks that you should have definitely ideally got in this particular mock in the reading sections. So without much ado, let's get started with the video analysis of the passage 2 and passage 3. I think the kind of surprise that LSAT particularly asked is what are these questions, the 6 questions that were asked about assumptions, main idea, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure that you guys have would have definitely taken this into the count. I believe even this passage was very easy, where the uh, understanding of this Madami's proposal was particularly asked, and then straightforward questions, central theme, evidence, what was the tone. I think that was what the idea was. So I'm not discussing relatively that, because that I find was very easy. So I've decided to record the questions from 91 to 108. A couple of questions becoming challenging, but I think with respect to our previous mocks, nothing was definitely very challenging. As I say, I always follow a tap model. So let's tap this. That what was the particular topic that I think the topic was the MU's transfer, which is Manchester United's transfer uh, of a footballer named as the striker, particularly. This is a Danish player. So in Danish it's called as Rasmu Højlund. I think that's what the correct pronunciation what I got from, but I think of this was about Rasmu Højlund. Okay, the D is silent. So Højen is what they particularly say in Dutch. Okay, so that was what the topic was all about. The aspects discussed in the topic, as I said in the top model, one of the aspects discussed is about reflection. I think the author is trying to be uh, discussing the reflection of a previous comparative to previous decision makers, you can say. So let's say reflection of decision makers on performance based, okay, rather than over, let's say, some sentiments. And what is the perspective of the author? I think the author stands critical, uh, but yet very, as I said, makes us reflect. So reflective, I will say, kind of tone as well as reflective. Upon what is he critical about? He's critical in calling him cold. I think the such cold calculation, so critical that he is critical upon, but he's reflective upon that this is the new age of selections, which is based on performance. So he's basically appreciating, he's pro decisiveness, but he is cold with respect to the emotional feeling for Rasmo Hoyu. Okay, so I think that is what is about this passage. If you understood this, I think the answers were very straightforward. But we always apply the beast model. So what is this beast all about? Let me just quickly explain. Broad which is about generalizations, extremes or exaggerations, uh, alien or unrelated information, sidetracks which lose the focus, and a tone mismatch is what the particular beast model is all about. So let's without much ado, let's get started with the 97th question. The importance of human sentiment, he's clearly asking, in sporting industry will resonate with the current hierarchy. I think if you go with the human sentiment, I think emotional loyalty and commitment of the player should be prioritized above all extreme. Okay, a goodwill and harmony built during pre-season should outweigh the short-term struggles of the player performance. I believe uh, uh, not the goodwill and the harmony, because it's something that the passage is saying the opposite to. See, loyalty of a long-serving or dedicated players must be honored, even if the club has already invested heavily in them. Again, I don't think sidetrack. I'll call it sidetrack. While sentiment has value, transfer decisions must ultimately be guided by cold calculations of performance and long-term impact. So I think that is what is the correct answer according to the what, the passage, and the tap that we just learned. Now, which of the following is the closest to the main idea of the passage? Very simple question. I think the moment I read A, it is definitely the answer that the handling of Rasmu Hoyun transfer reflects a new pragmatic approach that prioritizes performance and planning over sentiment. I think that's the clear main idea, tapping into my tap, and therefore is the correct answer. Why are all other answers wrong? I think Rasmu loyalty and determination to stay at the match demonstrate the emotional challenges faced by professional footballers becomes broad, clear example of broad, because you're not discussing other footballers into question. Benjamin Seco arrival at Manchester signals the club ambition to strengthen its attack regardless of existing squad harmony. I think the passage was more about Rasmu rather than this, so can't be the main idea. It was the sub idea, but clearly an option can be called as sidetrack. The contrast between pre-season unity and Hoyen uh, exclusion show the difficulty of maintaining harmony in elite football clubs. Only one club was dealt with. Again, I'll say it as broad. Can't be there for the main idea. Now, which of the following assumptions of Hoyland's part explains his expectation from the club? So, what is precisely his expectation from the club? Answer was very straightforward, but let's say, okay, the club would recognize his public loyalty statements as sufficient reason. His public loyalty statements, not his game. I think wrong assumption if he's making that expectation. So, if I think he himself wanted to believe in action, that he'll prove it by action rather than, and therefore he demonstrated that. So leadership would prioritize squad harmony and continuity over transfer market pragmatism and long-term restructuring. But this was again, I think, not the basic assumption, because it was about the new uh, uh, mechanism that was applied, and five other people have also witnessed it. So it was ironic with respect to Rasmu in this case, but I think definitely not what the Rasmu would have expected. See, demonstrating his superiority to Cisco in training sessions could influence the manager's decision to reconsider the decision to sell him. I think this was, I think, hinted in a paragraph. This is to there is to certain irony. I believe in the fourth paragraph somewhere. I think this was. It can be revealed as he considers himself better than the centre forward and agreed to pay. He felt showing that in sessions might give Ammonium a pause for thought. A pause for thought for his departure despite his arrival. So I think clearly this statement is something that we cannot negate, and therefore becomes a correct answer. Scoring goals in pre-season would automatically guarantee his secure place at the starting lineup of the season. A good close trap, but I think he also understands that scoring doesn't work because of the irony that the passage has mentioned. So I think he will definitely be, even if this is an assumption, he's trying to far fetch it out. Okay, why does the author mention the exiled players? Again, the comparison, I think, to highlight the irony. The passage starts from it, and there was no other There was a very, very straightforward option: illustrate the irony that despite earlier impulses. So very straightforward kind of questions were there. I don't think I'll call it no brainers. So I'm not even to highlight was a part of the same disciplinary. Nah, to emphasize that the removal from the squad was a direct punishment similar to those alien information, kind of no implications. And see, that created a deeper disharmony in the squad compared to the, again, no comparison. So sidetrack, you can call it. Okay, which of the following inference is untrue in the context of the passage? Very, very straightforward question. I think the answer was Bombay. When you see his determination to prove himself in training matches, ultimately convince the leadership to let him stay. I mean, clear alarm. This is clear contradiction, and therefore, what the answer is. If you are still making the mistake of not reading untrue, I think you should gear up. It's not about dejecting yourself up, but please don't make these silly mistakes. I think these cost you in these kind of easy exams. They will cost you colleges in terms of, if this was the real paper, it will cost you colleges, and I'm using plural to for emphasis. Okay, what is the outcome of the most consistent with the hierarchies pattern signaling the passage? So basically, he's asking that if it continues, if this is what the new mode is, what would be most consistent? So United definitely finalizes a sale while easing Seco with the limited minutes. I think that was definitely the correct answer, and he was definitely towards the end he was mentioning that it signaled, he played for children but doesn't go. I think that was clearly. So Mourinho restores Holland is opposite of what the passage is saying. The hierarchy offers an early season audition to revisit the decision before approving any transfer. Again, is contradictory to the theme of the passage. Both strikers are benched is again not solving the problem, because they have finalized Seco, they finalized Sesco. So I don't think this will go. So passage deserved a 6 on 6. I think there's no question that you might have heard, even if you would have fallen for. So again, as I say, 4.75, you could have easily tracked from this passage. I mean, bare minimum you should all have got. Okay, moving ahead to passage 3. This is kind of decision making criteria. So basically, I have a decision making criteria as a model that I work with, and I've if you are lucky enough to have been taught, I always discuss this fear model. Now let me explain this. What is this fear model? F stands for what is fair. By fair, basically mean equitable to all stakeholders. Okay, whoever it is attached, you will not be biased. Basically, not biased. Okay, E is about ethical. Okay, and again, business ethics or moral ethics. So morally and business and ethical business strategies, or okay, at any cost. Okay, please remember you have to always take ethical decisions. Okay, now A is very interesting. A basically is about addressing the problem. So identify the problem very crucially. Okay, so rest of them, majority of the options do not address the problem. So let's say they don't solve the problem directly. Okay, and then R stands for always address the rational. Okay, um, okay, let's say rational is about also practical, logical, and by practical means implementable. Practical, not your practical, not the imaginative practical, but the implementable practical. So let me write this. So we don't look for the idealized society. I mean, जो काम सच में हो सकता है, tenable है, implementable है, that is what I mean by rational or logical. Don't take so not emotional or sentimental. So I think work with these fear models, and I think you will definitely start acing this. So today, while analysis, I will try to understand this problem and then apply the fear model so that you can get the correct answers in the next mocks as well. So what is the background? That you've been hired as a chief engineer and for a large metropolis. It was very Mumbai story. So I think all people would have correlated that, okay, large Mumbai with repeated road damage, metropolitan city, large metropolitan city, especially during the monsoon season. Oh my God, it's just got over and created a public outrage. Potholes, waterlogging, and frequent utility trenching have left roads in perpetual state of despair. The municipal government has given you the responsibility of the municipal government. Okay, the BMC has given you a responsibility of proposing a permanent solution and ensure durable climate resistance. What is the problem? So let's identify the problem. The problem was potholes, waterlogging, and frequent utility trenching that have left in the perpetual state of despair. Okay, climate resistance and safe road for at least next 10 to 15 years. Now, what are these problems that you have observed? Number one, poor drainage and waterlogging monsoons. During monsoons, weaken road foundations and accelerate pothole formation. So that's the first problem. Second, contractors often cut costs because of their rules. Tendering rules prioritize the lowest bid rather than the long-term quality. So of course we should replace this. We should change this. Third, utility agencies frequently dig up newly laid roads for repairs, reinstating them poorly and leaving patches that quickly fall. Fourth was heavy traffic loads, including overload trucks and buses, causing rutting and cracking at intersections and arterial corridors. So there's a that specific locations where that this problem is particularly very huge. Okay, fifth problem is asphalt road deteriorate quickly and in high rain zones, while concrete pavements are actually costly. So asphalt is not an alternative, but it's a cheap alternative. Until economy is asked, I will be fair, I will be considering that, okay, whatever is my decision. So that sixth problem is residents demand smoother, long lasting, but also expect minimal disruption during construction. So basically we don't have to disturb public, so no disturbing public while we repair or while we do these things, right? So we have to take that into consideration. We can't say all dig up all roads and then I don't care about the public. The city has limited funds, but uh, recurrent maintenance is costing more each year and than the upfront investment in durable solutions would. So I think people are ready. I think those governments that they are limited funds, but they are still looking at a long term solution of things, and that is what he has mentioned. Exactly what is the long term? 10, 15 years. And the eighth, environmental activities are pushing for sustainable solutions, including recycled materials and heat reflective payment. So there has to be a sense of sustainability also. So this is what is called as the analysis of constraints. Now, what is the constraints that I have understood? Who are the stakeholders I've understood? Basically, in this case, the stakeholders are, I think, three people. What I have understood: general public, which is the most important one. I believe it is also the tender people who are the contractors, and these utility agencies that I need to keep in mind. So these are my stakeholders, and whenever I decide something, I should be equitable to all. I should not benefit or be biased upon any particular thing. And any which ways, in this case, public will definitely have a higher share in terms of contractors and utility agencies. That is what I understood from this problem, and this is how you should analyze all situations and all problems. Now, let's look at the questions. Okay, the first one. Question 103 says, which of the following should be treated as the most urgent pre-monsoon? Now, I have a condition pre-monsoon on high failure corridors. Now, increase routine pothole patching. I think patching is not addressing the problem. Okay, I believe patching pothole doesn't address the problem. So if I look at the fear model, doesn't address the problem. It's not a on high failure corridor most urgent. The patching won't work. Procure additional asphalt plants to raise nightly productive capacity. I think again not addressing the Okay, in the fear model, is it addressing the problem? No, it is not. Rebuild drainage and subgrade at black spots. Okay, while at the prima facie, this might say that what is drainage got to do? But isn't drainage is what was responsible, as if I read the problem first, that poor drainage and waterlogging during monsoons weaken road foundations and accelerate pothole formation. So isn't this the cure? Right? So I should definitely look at the C, but let's read D as well. Announce a citywide pledge to deliver pothole free. This is kind of impractical, right? But this is what I was talking about. Be rational, don't be emotional. This is kind of a emotional response. हम 30 days में कर देंगे and action करो ना. Announce क्या कर रहे हो? What is announcing a city pledge will mean? So I think C makes sense. So I hope this is how you kind of understand that this was not in terms of the fear. It was not rational. You're just announcing it. No, this is no action. This is only words. Okay, 104. Which procurement model best aligns with the goal of 10 to 15-year durable pavements? So what is the clear mention problem that I have to look at? The 10-15-year durable pavement. Okay, award the lowest initial bid with 6 months defect liability. 6 months. And lowest bid. The problem with the lowest bid was the lowest bid needs to change. So I don't think this will solve any problem. So it is not addressing the problem. So I'll clearly say it is not addressing the problem. Gone. Performance based contracts using life cycle cost of 5 to 10-year warranties. So performance based contracts, number one. So contracts have changed, and life cycle also is guaranteed return 5 to 10 years, which is your most effective plan. So I think it should be B. Annual item rate contracts with payments against tonnage supplied per night. I don't know why is he interested in so nightly production, night. It is not addressing. There was nothing about you're assuming all the stuff if you're putting this as a correct option. What is happening in night? You're saying that work happens in night and therefore that's the most brilliant thing. But that has never been mentioned as a problem, as a critical problem in all the eight things that we have written, or the passages. So don't assume problems in your head. Last option, framework MOUs with preferred contractors on time and material basis. But again, assumptions leading to, will they be how will these MOUs with preferred contractors help me? What are those preferred contractors? Have you thought what are those preferred contractors? It can be I mean uh, not in a good light. They can be preferred in a bad light as well, who give money under the table and so on and so forth. So it gives us corruption and so on and so forth. It doesn't solve the problem, so it never addresses the problem, and therefore not in the fear model. So in the fear model, I'll say not addressing the problem. I just only Bombay address the problem, that 5-10 year का warranty लेते हैं, performance based करते हैं, तो solve the problem. Okay, now 105. To prevent utility cuts of newly paved road, which engagement stance is most effective? So utility cuts का on newly paved road most effective कौन सा है? अच्छा question था. This was a real thoughtful one. For example, prohibiting all utility works on arterial roads for next 3 years. Now एक तो मेरा problem है 3 years से क्या होगा? या तो करो तो फिर 10 years के लिए करो. But that will become impractical solution itself. So even 3 year was not a very practical solution, and all utility works. I mean that's kind of impractical. हम नहीं कर सकते ऐसा. नहीं हो सकता बिकॉज इंटरनेट की नई लाइन आनी है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का नया कुछ होना है. देयर विल बी थाउजेंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स दैट यू कैन नॉट कंप्लीटली बैन, even for let's say 6 months as well. I mean, for the monsoon, etc., that happens because there are floods and everything. But on you can't uphold progress, and that to ban it for years. That doesn't work that way. Fine utility heavily after any post paving trenches observed. Okay, now this was good, that fine utilities heavily. That was fine after post paving trenches observed, which I think I'll address the problem. So it is fair, it is ethical, it is addressing the problem, and it is also practical. So I'll say B qualifies my fear model. Let's look at C. Request informal coordination through monthly interagency meetings. Again, you are looking at it with the very clear light that okay, but this is again informal coordination, but nothing action. So I don't think this addresses the problem. So again, in my fear model, it doesn't addresses the A. And then enforce strict utility trenching regulations. Oh, now this was brilliant. Now isn't D incorporate the B as well? That, for example, strict utility trenching regulation will include the fining as well. So if I look at B and D now, I think D clearly, B loses the heat because D encompasses B, because, and it's slightly broader in terms of addressing the problem, that it's most effective because you have newly paved roads. So instead of saying fine utilities, fining utilities heavily, rather than let's make the policy, let's make the regulations, and then regulations will include the fine. So D is much more holistically doing the FEAR. So I think that way it makes sense more than D. I mean, D is not right, D is not wrong, but D is definitely, Delhi is slightly much more holistic, let's say, than B. So B, I'll call it slightly narrow. I mean, in comparison, हाँ, nothing to be like narrow नहीं है ये, मतलब 20 का narrow नहीं है, लेकिन comparatively D encompasses B, so इसलिए I'll go for D. Okay, how should the pavement type be selected for different corridors? Very clearly they are saying different corridors के लिए कैसा होना चाहिए. Very simple यार. Match pavement type to traffic and subgrade narrow. Doesn't address the problem. Only one kind of thing. तो आप देखो, doesn't address the problem. Standardize asphalt for all the roads doesn't address the problem because different corridors बोला उसने, different situations होंगी, doesn't address the problem. Choose concrete only where asphalt price rise in predefined, so ये पैसा पैसा बोल रहा है, again doesn't address the problem. Yeah, it's not fair, it's only looking at the stakes of contractors or paisa. So pick based on local contractor preferences to ensure faster delivery and acceptances. Oh, my bad. I think this should be first. Now, match pavement type to traffic and subgrade using rigid composite for heavy roads. Correct. So I think between the A and D or C. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I just read the part of it because this was only talking about the local contractor preference, but again, local contractor preference to faster delivery and access is only looking at only one, is not equitable. It's not looking at the, or it's not solving the problem, right? It's not only looking at the contractor and local contractor, so it's only one stakeholder. Forget about the public and not different corridors. So I think my bad. I unfortunately not read the whole thing. Match pavement type to traffic and subgrade using rigid composite for heavy roads. So I think different kind of corridors, different kind of material. So match the pavement type with that. So what should be the pavement type? We selected with the traffic and subgrade of it. So I think that makes clear sense. Okay, which near-term construction strategy best balances durability with continuous city traffic? So city traffic should not be disrupted. So execute a full depth reconstruction only during daytime. I mean, that clearly messes up. So doesn't address the problem if you're understanding what the problem is, and then is not rational as well, because the public is going to be throwing you out. Now accelerate overlays city worldwide before addressing defective drainage and subgrades. So this makes sense. I mean, this could have partly made sense if you would have not thought through impulsively. You could have marked Bombay that accelerate overlays, so pehle bahar ka kar lete hain, and then we'll looking at the defective drainage and subgradage, right? But if you look at C, which says phase works with night closure, strict density targets, and rapid strength and material at nodes. So I think this is the best balance, the durability with continuous city traffic. Okay, night closures करेंगे. So this is the most diverse, and this is therefore addressing the core problem. So core problem address हो रहा है. Postpone all works until the monsoon. Again, postponing is not action. वो तो वैसे ही होता रहता है. Last one, which sustainability package best supports long life while reducing urban heat and waste? तो इसमें वो ergonomical structure है, sorry, the economical structure and the sustainable thing is what is being mentioned. So this was ban recycled and insist on virgin aggregates for higher perceived quality. ये यहाँ तक ठीक था, but ये सब हमें नहीं पता. Use recycled, oh sorry, ban recycled is going to be creating a problem. What am I doing? Okay, use recycled materials, lighter surfaces, and enforce load quality controls. Awesome. Plant more roadside trees and avoid any chances changes to current pavement specifications. This lol. It's not about pollution that you're trying to prevent. Trial and experiment coating citywide that claims to seal pavements again. Oh ho, experimental coating. इसका time नहीं है. I mean, this is impractical. या तो कुछ सक्सेस रेट होगा. You can't just say that has been claimed to do so. So that is what I think. Again, if you would have just paid attention, and if you do not know the fear model, I think this is what uh, you should apply, and it will give you a more kind of an accuracy in terms of discussing these particular solutions to the problem. So I hope you'll in the next segments of whatever mocks will challenge you with respect to the ethical dilemmas and all these kind of problem solving, you will apply the fear model. Okay, now as I was saying, range of marks in this particular mock, I believe in English you could have easily got 20 to 22 kind of a range, and so with respect to the logic also, you could have easily gained a 20 to 24 even, or let's say 23. So okay, so this was what I think is the range of English and logic. I believe legal was also straightforward. In terms of legal, there was no challenge, and legal score should have definitely been in the range of 25 to 30. And I think if I add this up, this becomes 65 as a minimum out of 80 that I always talk about, and this could have given us 75. So if your range of marks would have been in this, I think it was awesome, and it was not very challenging, believe me. I don't know about maths. I did not solve maths of this, but I think relatively it looked apparently very straightforward, kind of full of ratios and so on and so forth. So GK was also straightforward. So I think try and practice on your mocks. And and try to meet these ranges in an ideal set of range of marks. Should if this kind of easy paper happens to be, you should definitely aim for a higher score. All right, so I have a hashtag to that I've included, that let's try to go fatter. And you might be wondering what fatter. So let's look at these steps that we can particularly uh, follow for the next mocks and the remaining months. And I love to be in the center of your preparation, so please bug me, please bother me anywhere you can. So focus on time management. Time is an invisible enemy. So time is an invisible enemy in terms of every section and subsection as well. So if you have spent a lot of time, in one particular section, you should, I'm not saying that you should rush through the different sections, but you should start leaving questions. And if you're not able to decide, don't spend too much time on the same questions. Like, pause for a bit, mark something, move on, note somewhere, note on that page, particularly have some symbols that will guide you, that these are the questions that I have to come back on. Okay, ask doubts, or you approach faculties if you're struggling with any particular section, be it maths, be it GK, be it legal, English, logic. I'm there. I can even help you. Except for legal, I think I will definitely be trying to help you and guide you into the correct directions of it. So ask your doubts. Try new strategies. If you don't know strategies, ask me. Discuss it with me. I would love to give you and challenge yourself with new strategies. That, if this is done, then what is done, what needs to be done in terms of GK, how can I maximize my potential in terms of maths, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then talk to me. Don't shy away, don't hesitate, don't think that what will sir think about. I think involve me into your prep, make me as a center of your prep, and I would love to guide you towards the actual potential that you deserve in your correct marks. So the effort that you need to do is just reach out to me on Telegram, reach out to me on WhatsApp. If you don't want to tag me in the groups, it's okay. I can completely understand that people don't want to discuss. Just DM me, directly message me. My WhatsApp is all to you. Call me up. I think any problems that you have, please bug me, bother me. And then please remember that we at CL, please, we care about you. So if you're struggling through, if you're not able to take this pressure, you're having to, kindly have thought of giving up on CLAD, or already have given up on CLAD, and some friend has recommended this video to you, and if you're glimpsing through this, I think, please, this is the time that, please, uh, talk. Let's talk. I'm not saying that I will uh, 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 create magic or I'll do something very magical, but if we talk, if we let, if you get my perspectives towards it, I think I can help. So try to reach out to me. And that's all uh, for today, ladies and gentlemen. See you in the next mock. Thank you so much.